I like that we're matchy-matchy.
How are we matchy-matchy?
Who did it better?
Oh, the hats?
The hats. Who wore it better?
She always does it better. We were just talking about the challenges of raising a Cane Corso, and we figured it'd be maybe a great idea for people considering getting a Cane Corso to understand the challenges of these dogs. So you may be wondering, why do you want a dog that is such a challenge to raise? Life's all about challenges and overcoming those challenges and conquering those challenges. And then I'm proud to have these dogs raised so well. Because,
Me too.
you know, I've always believed that your kids, people that have kids, are a reflection of you, how you raise them, the type of person you are.
Yeah.
If you're an a-hole or not.
Right.
And the same for your dogs.
Yeah.
I believe raising your dogs properly really speaks to someone's personality.
I agree.
So yes, they're a huge challenge. Owning two is even a bigger challenge, and we absolutely love the challenge. And with any giant breed dog, it's much different than having a smaller breed dog. And my big dog owners out there will know, owning a giant breed dog comes with so much more than a normal sized dog or a small dog. And then add in the fact that these are guardian breeds. So a giant breed dog would be like a Great Dane, and those have their challenges because of their size and the care they need. But now you have a dog that is just as big or bigger than that, on top of being a guard dog.
Right.
So you have to be able to manage that as well, because these dogs could kill someone.
And manage it for life. I feel previously training, in my eyes, I would have thought would have just been for puppyhood or the first year of life, which now I just believe for any breed that's not the case, but especially for this breed, it's forever training.
Yes.
It's forever staying on top of
Forever
leadership,
socializing.
forever socializing, and
having two, keeping that pack hierarchy forever, always paying attention to things, paying attention to the cues between each other.
Not getting complacent with it, and just really giving them the time and attention they deserve for training.
And this is very impromptu. We were just discussing it. I'm like, hey, let's do a video. So we don't have any notes.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's going to be plenty of challenges we don't even think of.
Yeah.
But one huge challenge, I feel like, is time management. Because these guys, Cane Corsos are pack animals. Bruce Wayne, Joey Justice, they're happiest when the pack is together. Not when I'm just with the dogs, not when Kara's just with the dogs, when we're all together. But on the same note, they also need individual time. So Bruce needs time with just me.
Yeah.
Bruce needs time with just Kara. Mm-hmm. Justice needs time with just me. Justice needs time with just Kara. So that's a huge challenge, is time management.
Yeah, it's like that's the whole day.
That's like the whole day.
Between that and raw feeding, it's like, well, I'm done for the day. Good thing I quit my job.
And our lifestyle works for having two of these guys.
Yeah.
She quit her job, so it's even easier, and we're all going to thrive. She's going to thrive more being on her own. I'm going to thrive more having more help with the dogs and having her around. The dogs are going to thrive more.
Yeah.
So one thing I want to tell people is the breed's always going to be there, so don't rush getting it. Wait till the time's right for you.
Yeah.
Don't, like, if you have a ton going on in your life, if you just graduated college, or if you're just starting a new job, or have this massive life change going on, adding another layer of a huge life change on top of that, I just don't think it's the right time.
I agree. I am so glad this wasn't the first breed we owned together on our own.
Which are not for first-time dog owners.
Definitely not. There was a lot to learn about just being a dog owner, and I hear that from so many people that want a dog so bad.
And she's had dogs her whole life, as have I.
Yep. And so getting your first dog, it's so much different than what you would expect. That even our first dog had its challenges that were unexpected to us. So I'm really glad that we waited for a time that we were both more mature. We were in a home. We had all the things. We were also educated on what was going to come from getting a breed like this.
Yep. And I had a guardian breed before. I had a Nikita, and those are really hard to train. So much harder than these guys were.
Yeah. What would you say is the biggest thing that surprised you that was difficult about this breed? Like, what was the biggest surprise you had? Just because I feel that you were so educated on this breed, what did surprise you that was challenging other than time management?
Kind of what you said. Like, I always knew that how important it was to socialize them, and I knew it was a forever thing, but It really is.
Like, you don't realize it.
You don't realize how quick they'll just lose that skill of socialization.
Yeah.
And you really saw it during the COVID phase.
COVID, for sure. Yeah.
Bruce was extremely standoffish with everyone for a bit. He didn't want anyone around him due to the lockdowns and not being around people.
Yeah.
So that came a few years later after having Bruce.
Yeah.
But that to me was the most surprising thing, because we were constantly socializing him.
Mm-hmm.
We were still socializing him like all the time, so he was always accustomed. So that caught me off guard. I'm like, wait a second. It's like, you're always around people. Why are you like acting very defensive right now because somebody's walking by, you know?
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing for me. What about you?
I think it was all a surprise to me. I was so nervous and scared for this breed, honestly, that
She didn't want it.
I didn't want it. We've done some videos on that you can watch, but I was really, really scared of getting this breed. I just had ultimate fears in my mind. So I took training very, very seriously. At the same note, I was very scared prior to getting Bruce Wayne.
And I was really proud because you really listened to everything I said. She trusted me.
It was the best thing ever that I was scared, because I
listened to me.
didn't want to mess this up. I wanted to do right by Jason. I wanted to do right by the dog, and I wanted to do what I needed to do as a good leader. The last thing I wanted to do was be irresponsible and have something bad happen. So I think the biggest surprise for me was that I actually enjoyed all of that. I was always more of a baby voice, foo-foo, lovey-lovey on your dog, give them love the second you walk in the door, all the things that can be really wrong for your dog, right?
Yes.
So for me, I actually really enjoyed the process of the training and seeing the actual benefits very quickly of being a leader and developing that skill and seeing how it benefits them. I don't think I understood, like Jason was saying, that it would last their entire lives with the training, but I've actually really enjoyed it. I enjoy the benefits of it.
Yes, like the mental stimulation. Like,
yeah.
Like after you working with them, even if she takes them out on a walk and does drills with them, like they seem satisfied.
Just something so simple as if I was gone to work all day long and would come home and they had no attention from me, say it was a busy week, Jason would be like, hey, maybe just drill them around the house a little bit, Kara. For instance, if it was dark out and it was winter, just doing a few drills with both of them around the house would go so far. Literally just spending 5 minutes putting them on a let's go, telling them to sit, having them follow me around, and then when I would be done with that, even if it was only 5 to 10 minutes, the fact that they would then follow me around the house the rest of the night and look to me for guidance on what they should be doing. And that's just so cool. I didn't think I would enjoy the training aspect of that as much as I do. I also didn't think I would enjoy having a guardian breed. Jason really wanted a guardian breed. That was really something that appealed to him, and I didn't quite understand that or have that same desire. And then once we got these dogs, or Bruce I should say, and feeling as comfortable as I did as a female going for a walk after I knew I could control him and that he looked at me as a leader.
On the canal alone.
Just genuinely feeling more comfortable by myself as a female having a guardian breed or being alone in my house at night. I actually enjoy that feature of this breed.
That feature?
That feature. That detail.
Another challenge is, back to training, it's a breed you don't want to screw up with. It's a breed you don't want to make training mistakes and learn on the fly with. I'm always telling people to educate yourself before getting any dog. You know, read some books, watch training videos. We have a ton of online training courses that help you out. They're linked in the description box below. You save 10% if you use code Jason. A puppy training course, a canine boot camp course, a socialization course, everything you need. Educate yourself first before getting a dog, I always say. Mm-hmm. I was already good at training dogs, but that's still a challenge because I didn't want to screw it up. I didn't want to train them the wrong way to have to fix it and possibly create a permanent problem. You're always training your dog to do something you want them to do, or inadvertently training them to do something you don't want them to do.
That's a good way to look at it.
And I apologize if the camera's shaking. Bruce and Justice keep bumping the table it's on. We're extremely mindful of what we do around the dogs. We're always correcting any unwanted behavior, because if we don't and they do that unwanted behavior in front of us, we're essentially teaching them, hey, that's okay. So we're always correcting any unwanted behavior, And this is highly overlooked. You have to praise the good behavior, even if you're not asking for it.
Yes.
If you're cooking food and your dog politely lays down 5-10 feet away, not begging, praise your dog for laying down, because that's communicating to them, hey, I like what you're doing. Or if they come over and just lay at your feet, good boy, instead of like trying to be up all in your business.
Right.
And that is training your dog, and people always overlook that. So use your praise, but use it at the right times. Don't just come home and talk in baby voice. Like, why should I talk? Justice is right here, Bruce is right there. Why should I talk in baby voice to them right now? They haven't done anything to earn that praise. Everything should be earned. So that's a big challenge for a lot of people, just because your mind always has to be aware that you're training your dog.
It's a great example, actually. You don't want to inadvertently create a dog that's anxious, that's fearful, that's not responding appropriately.
Yes.
So all that training is forever needed. What Jason was just describing, we still do to this day. If we walk in the door with groceries and the dogs are just seeking our attention, but we ignore them, and a couple minutes later they go and they sit down or they lay down, that's usually when we give a praise. And we tell them that's good boys.
And we'll go pet them.
Yeah, that's the type of behavior we want to encourage. We don't want to encourage someone walks in the home and they're all over them. No, we want well-behaved dogs. And even though Bruce is 6, we still do it with him to this day. To this day.
Another challenge is their guardian breeds. Bruce is 155 pounds. The dog could kill someone. Justice is like, I don't know, 128, 130, 130s. I'm not sure. He could kill someone. So that in itself is a huge responsibility and challenge, especially if you want them to have those guardian instincts, because you can't train your dog to do everything. You can't have your dog be a personal protection dog and expect people to just come over, hey, can I pet your dog? That's not how life works. You have to train your dog for specific things. We want a companion animal, but yet we still want him to guard the house. So you have to learn to navigate your life for what you want with your dog. For example, I'm not going to introduce everyone that comes over the house to Bruce and Justice. There's absolutely no need. If somebody comes to fix the sink, if somebody comes to paint something, I don't need them to know my dog, I don't need them to be friends with my dog. If a family member that frequents the house comes over, yes, I'm going to introduce them the proper way. I have 3 videos up on how to introduce a Cane Corso to strangers. Check those out. They'll help you out. They work great. So you have to pick and choose the guardian instincts you want. And I let Bruce bark when people come up the driveway because he's a guardian breed. I don't want to take the Cane Corso out of the Cane Corso. He's doing his job. Somebody's on the property. He doesn't want people on the property. Even if he likes them, he's going to alert me, and he's going to sound scary to some people because they're on our property. And that's what we want. So that's a challenge for sure, is navigating those waters and like where that line lays. Because the same note, if you like to take your dog out in public, socialize them, they have to be accepting of people, or they're not going to bite someone.
You don't want them barking at every single person that walks by.
Or worse, biting someone.
Correct.
Because biting someone is going to kill your dog. You have to put it down.
Pretty much.
Another huge challenge is how much mental stimulation they need. They're a working breed. They need a job to do. Without a job to do, they are going to, you can try to tire them out through exercise alone, like playing fetch, but that's not going to really do it. They really have to work their mentals. And that can be challenging sometimes for some people. We don't seek out to mentally satisfy them every day, but a lot of things we do in their day-to-day life mentally stimulates them, mentally tires them out. We took them to the beach today. We had them off leash. We had them doing drills. That mentally tired them out.
I think it took for me a while to understand that concept and how to implement it. And for these guys, I notice a huge difference with Bruce in particular when I would just take him out, maybe just take him for a walk and not do anything major, versus when I actually did mentally stimulate him, whether it was giving him commands or having him fetch or do something with purpose and essentially work. You could see the immediate difference in him. It was the difference between, just take him for a 2-mile walk. He should be tired. He wouldn't be. He'd be looking for something. He wouldn't look happy and fulfilled.
Yep.
So 15 minutes in the yard of drilling him around or giving him a job or a purpose, he would look so happy after. You could just see the difference in his face. So you also have to be learning those techniques with your own dogs on how to mentally stimulate them.
Another challenge is leadership. A lot of people aren't good leaders in life. I was in management for so many years. I was creative director for a few years of some companies. She was in management for so many years. So just naturally, I believe naturally we're already leaders, but then through our careers, we became better leaders. And you really have to be a leader to these dogs or they will try to take over that leadership role.
Yeah, we like telling people what to do, so it works out well, is how I put it. I like being the boss, I like being bossy. So if you have that as a skill, if you find you're someone that isn't good with leading or directing or commanding, definitely this would be a huge challenge for you.
It would. We're very straightforward, direct people. And that works very well in communication with dogs.
Yeah.
We're the boss. Everyone's like, aren't you worried that these two dogs are going to fight? Do you mess around when your boss is around? No. We're the boss. They're not going to screw around when the boss is around, essentially, And that's how we have to look at things. That's why sometimes I'm like, hey, chill in the baby voices, because she loves to use baby voices to this day. And I'll be like, don't stop the coddling, stop the baby voices, because I'll see the dogs start to get less responsive to her.
Dude, you give them an inch, they take a mile. They prove it every time. It ticks me off because I do just sometimes want to mother them a little bit more.
Yeah, she'll be in their face, and I'm like, stop. Don't.
And then that's when they push it a little bit. So unfortunately, they always prove me wrong that I can't do that. But the flip side of that, though, is when you switch your communication and you're direct and concise, you use the right tone, you cut out all the other BS, it reverts back, at least in our scenario, very quickly.
Like a day.
Yeah.
Well, like I have an ebook. It's really cheap. It's an easy read. It's the philosophy of how I train dogs. And people read it and they'll message me like, just after a day of implementing some of this stuff, it's completely changed my dog.
Right.
And it's not hard stuff. It's just a lot of how you communicate with your dog.
And you've used this analogy before, but in a lot of ways, it's just like dieting and being successful with dieting. The biggest thing there is consistency and people not being able to be consistent. And the same is true with your dog training and leadership. And if you aren't someone that can be consistent, this breed is going to be a huge challenge for you. Yeah. Jason and I are already very consistent, disciplined people natural leaders. This breed just works for our personalities if you know us. In addition, we don't have kids, so we're able to really give them that attention that they truly require for being guardian breeds. We have the time to put forth towards having both of these dogs.
And more so, we want to put forth the time.
Yeah, we enjoy it.
We enjoy it.
We'll build our days around...
What do you want to do with the dogs today?
Yeah.
Because it's like, we're a family. Everyone's like, when are you going to start a family? It's like, we are a family. So it's like we want to do family outings. It's fun for us.
Yeah. That comment's a little touchy for me. I like to punch people when I see it, but...
So those are some training challenges. We have the physical challenges of they're huge.
They're ginormous.
Both of them are huge. They take up so much space. We have a small house. So that alone's a challenge.
I can't put them in my Jeep anymore, really. I can put one in, but two of them in my Jeep, it's a little too tight, I feel, for being fair to the dogs to take them on a trip. So. And in our living room, it's dog beds and couch, and there's like no place to walk. Yeah. They just take up so much space. Another huge challenge is feeding them. Giant breed dogs, for those that have never had them, for any giant breed dog, I'm not talking about big dogs, I'm talking about giant breed dogs, mastiffs, dogs like that, they grow different. And you have to be very careful with their joints as they're growing, because they have so much weight to them and those joint plates aren't closed yet. It can cause a lot of damage. So just monitoring their exercise, not overdoing it as they're growing. And then Bruce
middle-aged now. Now we're going through a whole nother process where he's got some spinal issues and he's starting to slow down a little bit because he just hit 6.
Yep.
So it's going to be an ever-evolving game of their physicality and monitoring that so they have longevity in life, so they can live as long as possible, so they're not in pain.
Right, good quality of life.
A lot of people don't realize how much joint issues a lot of these giant breed dogs have.
Right.
Another big challenge is feeding them, which really goes hand in hand with joint integrity, quality of life, keeping diseases at a minimum, and that's feeding a species appropriate diet. I get a lot of people saying, I know you feed raw, but what's a good high quality kibble? And honestly, there's no such thing as a good high quality kibble. It would almost be saying to, she's a dietitian, can you tell me a good high quality fast food place? Mm-hmm. It just doesn't exist. It's people wanting something that doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. You want high quality food for yourself? Go to the grocery store, eat whole foods, eat your fruits, eat your vegetables, eat nothing processed. The same for dogs. All kibble is processed. And if you notice when there's a recall on just one kibble, coming down the pipeline within a month is a ton of other brands. Because there's not a whole lot of manufacturers of kibble. So a lot of these places are all manufactured in the same plant. So if one kibble gets some bacteria or something in it, all these other kibbles have to get recalled. Mm. And would you find it healthy to eat cereal every single day of your life? Essentially, that's what kibble is, in my opinion.
Right.
So diet is huge, and it's a challenge. It's not like it's easy to feed the dogs a raw diet. It's expensive. That's a challenge in itself.
Time-consuming.
It's very time-consuming. Sourcing the food, making sure they're eating the right things.
It makes traveling very challenging
Makes traveling
as well.
challenging.
It's not just handing over a bag of kibble. It's
not getting complacent feeding them the same meal every time.
Right.
Because then they're not going to get a variety of nutrients.
Right.
You know, just like even if I'm eating healthy, if I eat the same exact thing every day, I'm not getting all the nutrients I need. I'm probably missing out on something else that I'm not getting because I'm so strict to what I'm eating. It's the same for the dogs. That's why it's like you have to be rotating their foods and feeding them different things, and it's a huge challenge. We enjoy the challenge, like we said.
Yeah.
They thrive off it. Other than shedding season, they don't really shed ever. Mm-hmm. Bruce feels like a baby teddy bear. He is so soft. Justice is super soft, and you just want to like cuddle them because they're so soft and like velvety.
Another challenge that at least we saw at first, and I think we got very lucky, so this could be location specific, but just the breed itself, a lot of daycares won't take this breed.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if they're intact or not. They won't take this breed. We called a bunch of places, and the second they heard Cane Corso, we don't take that breed.
Yep.
So there's still a lot of misinformation on the breed, but that's another thing to consider. If you are someone that gets this breed and plans on traveling or wants to socialize your dog through daycares, I would suggest you look into that ahead of time because it can be challenging. And I will say we are lucky with the daycare that we have locally that cares for these guys.
Another challenge is how sensitive this breed is. Bruce is way more sensitive than Justice. For sure.
Super duper.
So I have to be more stern with Justice than I do with Bruce. If I'm in the same tone with Bruce as I am with Justice for sternness, Bruce will like
pout.
He'll pout like you hurt his feelings. Like he's like super sad.
Like if he could actually like, shed a tear, he would. He would shed a tear.
And it's very common for them to be so sensitive. Mm-hmm. So it's that fine line. They need a firm handler that also understands their sensitivities. Another challenge is they're just a very quirky breed. They're an extremely quirky breed. A lot of dogs go through fear stages, but their fear stages can tend to be next level. Justice never really went through any, which is extremely rare. I don't know if it's just being around Bruce, and Bruce is very confident now. But Bruce went through a couple fear stages.
He did.
And at the moment, it's like, oh my God, are these ever gonna pass? Because it's like,
it was rough.
You know, I have videos up on how to handle fear stages, developmental stages of Cane Corso. Check that out, or I can do a separate one. Let me know down below. But there's that. There's the sensitivity of the breed. There is their pickiness when they're eating. I don't know if it's because they're so intelligent, but they are so picky when it comes to eating. We have a a holistic vet we go to for Bruce's spinal issues, where he's getting acupuncture, and she's helping us with his kidney stones. And she's surprised that they're this picky on a raw diet. She's like, really, on a raw diet?
Yeah.
And she hasn't had any other Cane Corsos for clients. I'm like, this breed is extremely picky. And I think a lot of it has to do with their intelligence. They're a very intelligent breed, which is very helpful, and it also can be a challenge because they need more stimulation. They need a job to do. You know, they have to feel like they're working. They have to feel like they're part of the family. So again, that's another challenge.
Going back to their size, I don't know if I'm just trying to give myself credit, but you can very easily get hurt with these dogs, and not intentionally. And from them, it's just they are massive, even when they're trying to hug us, because you'll notice they love hugging us. Bruce's paw, that could probably knock me over. That thing is so strong.
It's like the size of her hand,
it's
like right through
massive.
here.
Or even sometimes if they just step on you the wrong way, it hurts. That's how heavy they are. I've had run-ins where I knock Bruce's head will knock into my nose, a very sensitive spot. You may remember I broke my shoulder playing with Bruce incorrectly. These are massive dogs, and they're not doing anything to try to injure you or hurt you or be aggressive or anything like that. It's just how big they are. Things can happen very easily with how massive they are.
And going back to how big they are, and you don't want your dog to bite someone, that's a huge challenge too.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's a challenge if you raise them right, but if this dog bites you, it's not like a golden retriever biting you. This dog has a bite force, they say, of 700 pounds per square inch. It has they say the second strongest bite force out of any dog. Like, your hand is broken. If it really wants to bite you in an aggressive manner, not like a fearful bite where it's going to snap and break the skin, like actually latch onto you, you are not getting away. Like, if Bruce does not want to drop something when we're playing tug, like, I'm not getting it from him. Like, you can feel their power. And we've never felt Bruce's full power.
No,
He's never went full with
to.
us. And it's just like, this dog is strong. So that can be a challenge itself.
Another reason we've instilled that drop command a lot. In hopes of if and whenever he
something,
listens.
he'll listen.
So we do that a lot with the toys, just commanding them to drop, just to make sure, even for no reason. JJ could be walking in the yard and I will just yell that drop, and he will drop it the second I am not even finished with that word and it's out of his mouth. And same for Bruce Wayne. So it's just another thing that goes back to that training. It's challenging. You got to stay on top of it, all of it.
That's actually a challenge with Justice. He tries to anticipate our next move.
He does.
So before I say command, he'll do it.
Yeah.
Which I don't want.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge too. Another challenge is trying to go for walks with these guys. If you go for a walk at Green Lakes with these guys, it is a challenge to complete your walk.
It's a challenge to go anywhere.
Everybody wants to meet them. Everybody wants to meet them. You know, I randomly get are people scared of them when they see them? Like, actually, no, they're like gravitate to them. They want to see them. They want to pet them. They want to meet them. And I think it has a lot to do with the eyes. They have very loving eyes. Both of them do.
Very human loving eyes. I would have never thought that when we got these dogs. I thought people were just not going to want to go near them. I would have never anticipated the amount of attention they get. Whereas so much so, like Jason said, when we go certain places, I'll purposely say, let's go somewhere with less people because I want to actually go for a walk. I don't want to get stopped every 5 minutes.
But on the same note, being this attractive to people where they want to meet them, it really helps with the socialization.
So easy to socialize.
It makes it like we go to the gym and there's one guy there. He'll just get on the floor. He'll wrestle with Bruce and Justice. He loves them.
Yeah.
And like so many people just come up to us in the gym and want to meet the dogs, or if we'll take them to stores that are pet friendly. Everybody wants to meet the dogs. So that really helps with socializing our dogs, where we don't have to seek out asking people to pet our dogs. They just come to us.
That guy this morning hugged Bruce.
Yes.
And I was like, perfect. Like, I love seeing some random guy hug Bruce, especially at 6 years old. I want him to know it's still okay for random people to approach us and pet him. And then Bruce let him hug him, and he was just good with it.
Yep. And I use my methods of introducing people to Cane Corso. I use one of my methods where basically I had the guy shake my hand so Bruce could see it. Like, oh, he's part of the pack.
Yep.
You know, Jason's okay with him, and then Bruce totally accepted him. Totally.
Yeah, and that was also on our end. you were paying attention to the energy of this guy. It wasn't just, we wouldn't just let anyone approach like that.
He approached
or
us,
Bruce.
and he was from probably like 15, 20 feet away, and he's like, those are beautiful dogs. He's like, I didn't want to walk up on you and approach you when you had your dogs with you. I didn't know how to act. So right there, I'm like, this guy understands dogs.
He was making eye contact with us, not with the dog.
He wasn't just staring at the dog like this, making them feel like it's a threat.
Right.
And that's another challenge, is to get people to act appropriately around your dog. I've turned away certain people if they want to pet the dogs because their energy isn't right, and I can tell they're not comfortable, how they're acting.
You have no issues identifying someone who doesn't have the right dog energy, or number two, telling people what to not do while approaching these dogs. And I know from firsthand experience, I know people who've told me, I'm not going to say that to someone else. I don't feel comfortable. So if you are that person where you are not comfortable being direct and telling people how it needs to be, this dog isn't for you, because it is challenging. And you have to tell people, don't look them straight in the eyes. Just pet them. Don't be weird.
Yes.
You know, these are common things that come out of Jason's mouth to a complete stranger. Don't be weird, just pet the dog. He will say that to you.
They'll be like this in front of the dog's face. I'm like, just pet the dog.
And
they'll keep doing it. And I'll have to be like, then I'll be like, don't be weird, just like pet the dog.
Yeah,
don't be like this. Do you like this in your face?
a lot of people wouldn't say that to a stranger.
But if I tell them and they keep doing it, then I say, don't be weird. They're like, oh, he said I'm being weird. It's like a word that kind of triggers in their mind, and then they act differently.
Yeah.
Like, it literally changes them instantly.
Yeah.
And they're not offended, because I'm not like, don't be weird, you
It's
jerk.
true.
You know, I'm very polite about it.
You are. But some people don't have that in them instinctually to say that. So.
And that comes down to, we're leaders, you know? And so we don't have the issue telling people in a direct manner what to do.
At the end of the day, we never forget what this breed is capable of, and sometimes that's when I'll take the dogs by myself. When I'm taking both dogs for a walk, I'll let Jason know I'm not letting them meet anyone.
Yep.
I'm just not going to.
Especially with two now. It was different with Bruce, but now you got two.
When you got 300 plus pounds of Corso and I'm $110 or so, it's just, for me, it's not worth it for the socializing. I'll do the socializing when I'm with Jason and we've really got that established leadership and strength there if and when we need it. But by myself, I'm just focusing on the dogs, and that's okay too. Not every walk has to be a social situation. When it comes down to training these dogs, that can be difficult if you don't have a Jason in the household and you're just one person training two dogs. You need to consider those situations as well.
One last challenge before we go is keeping the pack hierarchy. It's extremely important, if you only have one dog, that you're above the other dogs. In our house, it goes me, Kara, Bruce, Justice, and it's not because I'm the male. It's because I've trained the dogs a lot more. I'm with the dogs a lot more, so that's how they see it. So we go with what they naturally feel as the pack leadership. So with Bruce and Justice, Bruce gets everything first. They can eat at the same time, but Bruce gets his plate put down first. Bruce walks out the door first. Bruce comes in the door first. These are all simple things that people don't think of to keep the pack hierarchy, so there's not challenges between the two as who's above who.
Yeah.
You know? And we're on the same page with that, so it's easy for us, but I can see it being very difficult for certain people.
I think we implemented it well, where you would be the one essentially training Bruce. You would make sure you did the commands with him, he listened, and once it worked for you is when I then started implementing it.
I'm sure there's plenty more challenges, so we could probably do a whole nother video as well on more challenges of raising a Cane Corso, but just some things to think about before you get one. Everything I'm associated with, linked in the description box below. Training courses, save 10% using code Jason. I'm associated with Fenrir. We have the Fenrir hammer, leashes, collars, 10% off with code Jason. My ebook, my merch, we got it all. This sick Corso shirt, the #1 Cane Corso selling shirt in the world.
Oh.
Until next time, we'll see you later. Peace.